At the height of Liverpool's success under Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot, the Anfield club has picked up bargain after bargain in the transfer market by using data to unearth undervalued talents like Mohamed Salah, Andy Robertson, and Alexis McAllister. But instead of following their proven recruitment strategy this summer, the Kopites have opted to splash a record-breaking amount in excess of £100 million on German superstar Florian Wirtz. The 22-year-old Bundesliga winner is among the finest players of his generation and looks set to dominate the Premier League for the next decade in a similar vein to serial winners David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, and Cesc Fabregas. But things haven't always been plain sailing for the silky playmaker. This is the grassroots to greatness story of Florian Wirtz, which shows how he overcame adversity to become Bundesliga's best player, why he rejected the giants of Bayern Munich and Manchester City to mark his name on the storied streets of Merseyside, and the traits that could make Wirtz an all-time Premier League great. Wirtz was born on May 3rd in 2003 in Pulheim, a suburban area on the edge of Cologne, the fourth largest city in Germany. From the moment he first touched a ball, leaving grassroots defenders and parents shocked by his skill, Wirtz's childhood years were said to be dominated by interest from elite academies. Many of today's greatest emerging talents, Jude Bellingham, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Xavi Simons, were born into football-savvy families that understood the intricacies of the beautiful game and carefully mapped out career plans for their talented children. And that was certainly the case for Florian. His dad, Hans Joachim, was the chairman of the semi-professional outfit, Grün-Weiß Brauweiler, while his mother, Karin, ran the club's admin. So, when a 10-year-old Florian started tearing up youth games and attracted the interest of Germany's two biggest clubs, Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, his parents knew they had to be careful. As senior figures in a football club, they knew the dangers of their son pursuing a false stream of money, success, and fame at one of Europe's biggest clubs. They'd seen countless hopeful kids pack their bags for Bayern, only to vanish into obscurity among the ruthlessness of youth football. To them, if Florian was going to prioritize football, a talent he seemed born to pursue, over education, his path had to be carefully planned and driven by passion, not fame. So, the Pulheim boys' family rejected advancements from Bayern Munich, a feat they'd repeat a little over a decade later, and joined his home city club, FC Köln. It was a smart football-focused decision that ultimately produced not one, but two future German internationals. Florian's sister, Julianne, would make the move to the same academy and would later represent the women's national team at every youth level too. And perhaps an early value system that later swayed Florian to join the identity and spirit of Liverpool instead of the money and local status of Bayern Munich. After several years at FC Köln's training center, where Wirtz dazzled past defenders like his idol, Lionel Messi, the attacking midfielder was already making a name for himself. But despite its 50,000 stadium, adoring fanbase, and two top-flight titles, FC Köln aren't exactly Germany's biggest club. So, when a 15-year-old Wirtz received his first call-up to join the national team, the club's youth management and supporters were excited, beyond Jonas Hector, a former Germany international who made 314 appearances for FC Köln. The side had struggled to produce a homegrown superstar who could represent their senior squad in the Bundesliga for several years. The expectation that Wirtz, a teenager who was already clearly ahead of his German-age counterparts, would become FC Köln's next academy figurehead after Hector's retirement was palpable. By his 16th birthday, as whispers of Wirtz's golden potential echoed through the academy, there was already talk he'd represent the first team. But what happened next shocked everybody at FC Köln. In 2020, aged just 16, and before FC Köln could hand their wonder kid his professional debut, Wirtz made a £200,000 move to local rivals Bayer Leverkusen. The transfer was controversial and bypassed a gentleman's agreement between the two teams. Unsurprisingly, FC Köln's fans, desperate to see a youth star in its starting 11, were furious. They labelled Wirtz as greedy, arrogant and money-hungry, but their claims couldn't have been further from the truth. After the teenager penned a professional deal with Leverkusen, his parents ensured he received only a portion of his wages. The married couple were cautious that Florian could get distracted by off-field shenanigans and only let him keep enough money to support his fitness and maintain his focus on football. And within a few months, Leverkusen rewarded Wirtz's bold decision by making him their youngest ever player, with a first Bundesliga start against Werder Bremen. By this point, Wirtz's low-key, budget-friendly off-field lifestyle contrasted greatly with his national reputation after YouTube clips of his Messi-esque dribbling skills circulated. German devotees already questioned whether he could be the man to return the nation to its World Cup winning glory. It was this football-centric ethos and humility that would later convince Liverpool to break their transfer record for the midfielder. But first, Wirtz had the Bundesliga to conquer. A few weeks later, with the hype around Wirtz building, the teenager came up against Bayern Munich's star-studded team, containing Thomas Müller, Robert Lewandowski, and Joshua Kimmich. Typically, the world wouldn't be tuning in for a regular season Bundesliga match, but due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, fans across the world had little else to do but tune in for the match. And it was this moment the 17-year-old announced himself to the world. Wirtz received the ball inside the box, shifted the ball onto his favoured foot, and intricately placed the ball past a helpless Manuel Neuer. Believe it or not, Liverpool's sporting director, Michael Edwards, got in contact with Wirtz almost immediately after his Bayern Munich goal. The shrewd transfer businessman loved the youngster's close control, creativity, and perhaps most importantly, off-field activity. Yet, the pair agreed it was best Wirtz continued his development in the Bundesliga for now. And it's needless to say, Wirtz quickly progressed beyond anyone's expectations, perhaps even Edwards. During 2020-2021, the Wonder Kid's first full season, he produced 16 goal involvements in 38 appearances, including an iconic strike against Borussia Dortmund. Elsewhere, on the national scene, he received his first Germany call-up. In the following campaign, Wirtz got even better. By March 2022, after producing a clinical 24 goal contributions in 31 appearances, the German teenager was on everybody's summer transfer shopping list. Liverpool were still on the phone, and there were rumours of interest from Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Manchester City. Yet, out of nowhere, disaster struck. In a home derby match against the youngster's former club, FC Köln, who were still undeniably bitter of his move 10 kilometers north to Leverkusen, the Germany international was on the end of a lunging challenge from Luca Killian. The tackle was full throttle, yet honest, but its impact on Wirtz was devastating. He tore his ACL, an injury that would rule him out for the remainder of the season, and throw all his dedication and his family's careful planning into jeopardy. With aging academy star Jonas Hector watching on, FC Köln fans thought they'd finally won the battle. To them, it was a moment that epitomized the difference between Hector's loyalty and longevity and Wirtz's arrogance and short-sightedness, but the attacking midfield sensation was just getting started. In the end, Wirtz was sidelined for just under a year. The youngster was among the world's most sought-after teenagers 12 months earlier, yet after a devastating ACL injury, conversations reverted to does he still have it? And for a period during the 22-23 campaign, it looked like the injury might have killed the magician who terrorized Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund during his opening games. After finally returning to action on January 22nd against Borussia Mönchengladbach, the 19-year-old scored just one goal in his following 17 Bundesliga appearances. The national media, who'd built up Wirtz as the youngster capable of returning glory to Germany, were ready to tear him down as another overrated flop. Even if their reporting was harsh, nobody could have predicted the unprecedented heights Wirtz would reach under new Leverkusen manager Xabi Alonso. During the opening weeks of the 23-24 season, something remarkable was happening. Leverkusen, typically at best a memed mid-table side, was winning week after week. By game 16, the underdog team remained unbeaten, was sitting top of the Bundesliga, and everything was going through Wirtz. While Alonso was the tactical mastermind manager, Wirtz was the orchestrator on the pitch. His passing, dribbling, and shooting had suddenly developed to a world-class level as he smashed in 12-goal involvements in the opening 16 Bundesliga matches. What's more, Leverkusen hadn't lost in the Europa League or the DFB Pokal, and fans began to murmur of an unthinkable unbeaten treble. Incredibly, the Bundesliga underdogs kept going. Wirtz scored a hat-trick as Leverkusen thrashed Werder Bremen 5-0 to become the first club to dethrone Bayern Munich as German champions for 11 years. The attacking midfield sensation won the Bundesliga Player of the Season and had undoubtedly written himself into Leverkusen folklore. Just over 12 months on from a potentially career-ending injury, Wirtz had risen from the ashes to become arguably the greatest and most successful player in Leverkusen's history. The youngsters' heroics weren't over as the German club chased an unprecedented, unbeaten domestic double. Wirtz scored twice and assisted once in the DFB Pokal semi-final against Düsseldorf as Leverkusen cruised to the tournament's final. They'd win the final against FC Kaiserslautern a couple of weeks later, and Wirtz's superstar status would rise to another level. He'd become the star of the German national team, the face of Adidas's promotional campaigns, and every elite club in Europe would pull every string to get the attacking midfielder to their club. But Wirtz remained loyal to Leverkusen. He produced another 31 goal involvements in 24-25, but there was a general consensus he'd taken the German club as far as he could. When Europe's elite, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Manchester City were alerted that there might even be a slight chance that Wirtz would be open to a move away from West Germany, they wasted no time in attempting to woo the 22-year-old. Wirtz and his family received private training ground tours from Bayern Munich and held secret meetings with City boss Pep Guardiola. But, to the world's surprise, Wirtz's family were uninspired by their projects. While the contract offers were lofty and the potential for superstar status was clear, something was missing from their proposals. Wirtz's family had never prioritized money or fame over football development before, and they weren't going to stop now that the German was among the best players in the world. So, when Liverpool, a club who've helped countless players reach unimaginable heights, have a world-class training facility and a vision to build an English and European dominating dynasty, expressed their interest, there was only one option for Wirtz: Liverpool's Michael Edwards, who kept in touch with Wirtz since his remarkable performance against Bayern Munich in 2020 was pivotal. His 5-year-long pursuit of Wirtz helped the German family to understand how highly the Merseyside club rated their son. And with Liverpool's data-driven approach, they rarely spend big on players. It was clear that they didn't want to sign Wirtz to become a marketing asset or luxury player. They valued him as an integral part of their team. In the end, Wirtz and his family's decision was reminiscent of their 2010 decision to join FC Köln and then Leverkusen instead of Bayern Munich. The German sensation, who looks set to dominate the Premier League, has consistently made decisions that aid his progress, help him feel belonging, and build a meaningful legacy. And he'll certainly have the opportunity to do that at Anfield. Liverpool lifted the 24-25 Premier League title, and after finally spending heavily in the transfer market, appear ready to consistently edge their nemesises, Manchester City and Real Madrid. Wirtz will be tasked with replacing the outgoing Trent Alexander-Arnold's creativity as the Kopites strive to become Europe's best club. With the German's unbelievable passing, dribbling, and shooting, but also his resilience after injuries, his desire for meaning over money, and his unwavering work ethic, Wirtz is poised to help Liverpool to every trophy over the coming years.